You know what they say about trust, don't you? That it takes years to build and seconds to destroy? Well, I used to believe that was just a cliché, until I found myself standing in my own kitchen, holding evidence of my husband's betrayal like a live grenade in my trembling hands. I'm Rowan, 24 years old, and I thought I had it all figured out. Software engineer by day, devoted wife by night, living in our cozy modern apartment with Blake, my 35-year-old lawyer husband who could charm his way out of a parking ticket and into any woman's heart. Including mine, once upon a time. That Tuesday morning started like any other. I woke up exhausted from pulling an all-nighter on a complex project, my eyes burning from staring at code for 12 straight hours. Blake was still sleeping, his perfectly styled hair barely mussed, looking like some kind of legal prince even in his dreams. I needed gas money, something small and insignificant. Just loose change from Blake's wallet. That's when I saw it, tucked away in his closet like a dirty secret wrapped in designer leather. A brand new handbag I'd never seen before. Expensive looking. Definitely not something he'd buy for me. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside, nestled between receipts from restaurants I'd never been to, I found a bottle of premium personal lubricant and a box of expensive protections. The same protections Blake claimed he was allergic to, the ones he said gave him rashes, the reason we'd stopped using them years ago. Everything froze. The world tilted sideways. "No way," I whispered to the empty closet. Blake wouldn't. He couldn't. But there it was, undeniable proof that my marriage was built on lies. My brilliant, successful, charming husband was having an affair, and he wasn't even being careful about hiding it. Most wives would have confronted him immediately, screamed, cried, demanded explanations. But I've always been the methodical type, the one who reads instruction manuals and backs up important files twice. So instead of confronting Blake, I got creative. I called my colleague Caleb, a white-hat hacker with a cheerful personality and an impressive ability to find information that others preferred to keep hidden. He didn't ask questions when I told him I needed help with a personal project. "Rowan, you need me to trace someone?" Caleb's voice was casual, professional, both digital and personal surveillance. I replied, keeping my voice steady. "I need you to monitor a target. Record everything, don't miss any details." While Blake showered that evening, I carefully opened the lubricant bottle with the precision of a surgeon. Half the contents went down the drain, replaced with a mixture I'd prepared using brilliant green dye, the kind used in chemistry labs, and a generous amount of concentrated pepper extract. The protections received special treatment too. A sewing needle applied with surgical precision created tiny holes, invisible to the naked eye but large enough to ensure maximum unreliability. "You want to play games, Blake?" I muttered to myself, channeling my inner mad scientist. "Let me show you a performance you'll never forget." Blake emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a towel, looking like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. "How was your day, honey?" "Same old routine," I replied, watching his face for any sign of guilt. "Nothing exciting." She could have won awards for that performance. Over dinner, he casually mentioned working late again with his colleague Morgana, a senior advisor at his prestigious law firm. "Big case coming up," he said. The whole team needed to pull an all-nighter at a conference center in Hartford. "Which conference center?" I asked casually, twirling pasta around my fork. "Hampton Suites by the interstate. You know, the one with the fancy business center." The Hampton Suites, where rooms rent by the hour if you know who to ask. My surveillance software had already confirmed what I suspected. Blake had booked a private suite there, not for a meeting, but for something much more personal. That night, while Blake slept peacefully beside me, probably dreaming about his upcoming business meeting, I reviewed the evidence Caleb had gathered. Text messages between Blake and Morgana, intimate photos, detailed plans for their encounters. Video footage from public cameras showing them entering the Hampton Suites hand in hand, like lovers in some twisted romantic comedy. The next day, I called in sick and established proper surveillance. I rented the room directly below theirs at the Hampton Suites, dressed conservatively like a potential business client. Caleb helped me install listening devices through the ventilation system, tiny pieces of technology that could pick up every word, every whisper, every moan. What I heard that afternoon changed everything. Morgana's voice drifted down through the thin ceiling. "My husband has no idea. He spends more time with computers than with me." Blake laughed, a sound that used to make me smile but now made my stomach turn. "Poor bastard probably thinks romance is fixing her laptop." "Danny's sweet, but he's so predictable," Morgana continued. "Boring, really. You know what excitement he brought to our marriage last month? A new password manager." They spent the next hour systematically destroying my character, my career, even my choice in breakfast cereal. Every insult was another nail in their respective coffins. I sat in that hotel room, tears streaming down my face, recording every cruel word, every heartless laugh. When they finally left, I broke into their room using a spare keycard Caleb had programmed. I collected additional evidence, hair samples, lipstick stains, receipts for champagne and flowers. Everything I needed to build an airtight case. The following week, I knew Blake and Morgana would meet again. I quietly replaced the modified lubricant and protections in Blake's bag, then settled in to wait for the fireworks. That evening, Blake texted me. Working late, meeting Morgana to finalize documents. I replied with a single, cold, smiley face. Later, Caleb sent me an update. Target activated. Coordinates Hampton Suites, room 237. The chaos that followed exceeded my wildest expectations. Blake and Morgana were rushed out of the hotel covered head to toe in brilliant green dye, their faces red and swollen from the pepper spray residue, trying desperately to cover themselves with hotel towels, while other guests filmed with their phones. Caleb had edited the footage to protect our identities and uploaded it to social media with hashtags like #greenlovers and #chemicalromance. The video went viral within hours, turning Blake and Morgana into the town's biggest joke. I sat in my car across the street, watching the spectacle with no emotion on my face. Perfect, I texted Caleb. The next morning, Blake came home looking like a defeated Christmas elf. His skin still tinted green, his eyes red and puffy. Morgana had been calling him non-stop, both of them panicking about their ruined reputations. I was waiting at our kitchen table, laptop open, all the evidence displayed like trophies of war. Rowan, I need to tell you something. Blake began, his voice shaking. So do I replied calmly. Want to talk about your work accident at the Hampton Suites yesterday? Someone attacked us. It was a chemical attack. A chemical attack? I stood up, my voice steady but my eyes sharp as knives. Or the consequence of your work choices? I don't know what you mean. I played the audio recording of him and Morgana mocking me at the hotel. His face went from green to deathly pale as he heard his own voice calling me predictable and boring. Then I showed him the surveillance footage, the text messages, the hotel receipts, the timeline of lies he'd been living for months. This wasn't an accident, I said quietly. This was a performance you and Morgana wrote yourselves. I just added some color to make it more memorable. Blake's phone rang, Morgana calling in a panic. I answered, putting it on speaker. Blake, what's happening? The office is talking about us. The video is everywhere. Hello, Morgana, I said sweetly. This is Rowan. I see your work relationship with Blake has been very effective. Rowan? What did you do? I helped people see your professional relationship more clearly. Oh, and I've already sent evidence of Blake embezzling company funds for your meetings to the Bar Association's Ethics Committee. Blake collapsed into a chair. Morgana screamed through the phone. I hung up. Over the following weeks, the consequences unfolded like dominoes falling. Blake and Morgana were both fired, their careers destroyed. The Green Lovers video became a viral meme. I filed for divorce, keeping the house and all our shared assets thanks to the evidence I'd collected. Detective Miller came to investigate the hotel incident. I provided carefully crafted answers that couldn't implicate me directly. We still haven't found direct evidence that you tampered with anything, Miller said during our interview. I smiled innocently. It was an unfortunate accident. Maybe Blake should be more careful with his personal items, especially when he's working with colleagues. But why were they covered in green dye? Oh, that was food coloring Blake bought for a science experiment with the neighborhood kids. I guess he accidentally mixed it up with his other supplies. The explanation was absurd enough to make Blake look even more ridiculous. Miller sighed, knowing he couldn't prove anything. You're very intelligent, Miss Rowan. Thank you, Detective. I've always believed in applying science to solve problems. Months later, I sat in a coffee shop with Caleb, reviewing the social media statistics about our viral video and reading the comments that had made Blake and Morgana the town's permanent laughingstock. You've become a legend, Caleb said, grinning. Everyone knows about the Green affair. Blake and Morgana are the joke of the century. I smiled, feeling genuinely satisfied for the first time in months. Actions have consequences, Caleb. Sometimes a little color makes the lesson more memorable. As I walked confidently down the street afterward, sunlight illuminating my face, I felt truly free. No more exhaustion, no more worry, just liberation and a mysterious smile. I had rebuilt my life, stronger and smarter than before. In a final ironic twist, Blake and Morgana were last seen working menial jobs, still haunted by the color green and the endless online mockery. They looked at each other with nothing but hatred, their grand romance reduced to shared humiliation and mutual resentment. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's letting them destroy themselves while you provide the perfect stage for their downfall. And honestly, I haven't lost a minute of sleep over any of it.